Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal, and I am here tonight with Bruce McCurdy. Hey, Bruce.
Hey, David. How are you doing tonight?
Good. Excellent. Another great day to be alive. All right, Bruce. The Oilers now have one win in 7 games. In the last 2 games without their captain, Connor McDavid, they've looked considerably worse than they looked previously. They were kind of getting, it was kind of like you could make the argument before that it was kind of weird how they were losing. The grade A shots were fairly equal. The Oilers actually had a little bit of an edge. They just were getting beat. It was hard to figure out how they were getting beat, honestly. The last 2 games, though, they've just been whipped. Tonight, it was 3-0. New York Rangers outskilled, outskated, outplayed the Edmonton Oilers. It wasn't close. Stuart Skinner held the Oilers in the game, kept it close for a while, but it almost seemed inevitable. And the Oilers just seemed lost. Well, not lost, just not nearly good enough. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so anyway, you were at the game. What was the mood like?
I was at the game tonight, David, and enjoyed it as I always do. NHL hockey. Always a pleasure to go down to the local rink and see a Stanley Cup contender in action. The only bad part about that tonight is that Stanley Cup contender is clearly New York Rangers, who played a fantastic game tonight. And all the analysis that I heard on the way home was basically 100% focused on the Oilers and all the phone-ins and stuff. And nobody mentioned the fact that New York Rangers are a hell of a team and they played a hell of a game tonight. So let's start with that. They absolutely tore Edmonton apart with cross-seam passes in this game. I was sitting almost directly behind the net where Rangers scored all 3 of their second period, all 3 of their goals, all 3 of the goals in the game in the second period were scored down in my end. And all 3 of them came on brilliant passes right across the sheet, sort of from one dot to the other, and followed by a shot where Stuart Skinner is scrambling to get over there and just wasn't able to get there. And I mean, the one that kind of came from the middle of the ice was the pass that went to the defenseman just as he was hitting the blue line, again, a cross ice pass, and a brilliant one. It looked like there was a guy high in the zone kind of standing still, and instead, like, the passer found, must have been Panarin, was it?
Yeah, I think it was Panarin.
And it was, no, it was actually Jimmy Vesey.
Oh, geez.
And yeah, 4th liner with a point. Imagine. It's possible. So the Oilers could take some inspiration from the Rangers from things like that. And he just caught him just perfect, hitting the line. He walked into the slot and fired a perfect shot into the top corner. And the other ones were from one side right over to the other. But each of the 3 passes that set up the goals was easily 50 foot right on the tape. There was another one that set up a one-timer that dinged a post, I think. I never saw in the rink a definitive replay, but I think that's the only way it could have stayed out. And the Rangers had the puck on a string, and they were so much better at passing. One of the things I see in person, David, is I see and focus less on the individual, and I just see more of the team play. And the Rangers just had better control of the puck. They were whipping it around better, and Edmonton's passing game was off, or it just isn't there. Like, they just seemed hesitant, or the puck would bounce on them, or they would make a wrong decision to, when they did make a couple of passes, just didn't ever seem to amount to much. And sure, they did get a few half-decent chances, but even as Jonathan Quick was named first star of this game, I don't think he was the difference in this game.
That's charitable to the Oilers.
I would have picked Adam Fox as the first star of this game, and I might the Rangers. 3 splendid defense pairs. I watched them going the other way for the first and third period, and I was able to focus quite a bit on their defense pairs of K. Andre Miller with Jacob Trouba and Ryan Lindgren with Adam Fox. And then Eric Gustafson, former Edmonton Oilers draft pick that they never bothered to sign in the middle 2010s, uh, lining up with a very impressive Braden Schneider, who had a fine game and a great shot to score the second goal. So, in fact, Rangers got their goals. The first two of their goals came from that defense core. And that six pack of defenders soundly outplayed their counterparts on Edmonton. There's 7 counterparts on Edmonton tonight.
This is our 2 good things, 2 bad things, and 2 numbers podcast. Was that your good thing, Bruce? The Rangers then?
Well, the Rangers, I wanted to make sure that somebody said it. The Rangers are a good team that played a real good game. So credit where due. My good thing, I'm gonna give a little shout out for Stuart Skinner, who
Sure.
I thought had a pretty strong game. He made a terrific, like after a fairly, frankly, boring first period, in the last minute of the first, the Oilers had some kind of breakdown that led to a wide open 2-on-1 for the Rangers. And again, they made the cross seam pass, and Skinner had to come all the way over to make that save. And he had to move post to post a lot in this game. And he made a number of splendid. They couldn't keep them all out, but Jesus, pretty hard to. I mean, which one of the goals would you blame him on? Any?
Yeah,
I didn't
that
see
chance in the I didn't. That chance in the well, some people might blame him, Bruce, on the second goal. Yeah, the second goal where because it was from a far out shot, but I actually think Brown may have tipped that. The puck looked like it was, maybe you'll be able to check this.
Yeah,
It looked like the puck started to flutter and changed angles, and then Nurse screamed the goalie as well on that. So it was a tough play.
This is another thing, and it's not going to be my bad thing because there's plenty of bad things to choose from tonight. But I had a great view of that goal because it was basically coming right at me. The guy was just on a slight angle to the net, and I was at a slight angle behind the net. And Nurse was so completely in the shooting lane that he was essentially blocking the same lane as the goalie was, and he had the same holes as his goalie did. If the shot beat Nurse, it was going to also beat Skinner, plus he wasn't going to see it, which is what happened. And then I saw a play in the third period where the Oilers had a clear shot, and here's a Ranger defenseman boxing out an Oiler at the side of the crease, and the Ranger defenseman himself is out of the damn way so the goalie can see the shot. And all he has to do is cover, one side of the net because it isn't going in the other side because, just completely covered with players. And let your goalie see the puck, man. I mean, come on, help him out.
So that play at the end of the first period, Bruce, that came because this is going to surprise you. It was a 2-on-1, and because Matthias Ekholm had tried to pinch and missed the puck, and it was a 2-on-1. Bouchard, I mean, it was just there was hardly any back pressure on the 2-on-1. They had all day to pass that puck, loft the perfect pass. You give NHL players like 5 seconds down the ice without any back pressure, they're going to make a nice play, and they sure did. And nice save by Skinner. Nurse's screen on the goalie
in the moment, and a huge and I think even after the loss, which we didn't know at that moment, a big confidence boost for Skinner to make a big save in a big moment, and
I think we might see him next game.
His best. Oh yeah.
Nurse's mistake was just one of 6 major mistakes on grade A shots this game. It's funny because he had some good moments in this game too on the attack, and he was trying to force things. He was working hard. He blocked a shot and hurt himself, but he did make a lot of major mistakes on grade A shots. So it was he's one of the players putting in some effort. My best, I'll pick the best forward and the best defenseman since you picked the best goalie. I thought Kulak was the best Oilers defenseman, and I thought, which is good because he had been not playing well, and they need Kulak. They need the Kulak of the second half of last year in the playoffs. They need him to play well. He can be a key player for the team, or a key trading piece for the team if it comes to that. And he was moving the puck well tonight. He made a nice pinched for one to help on one grade A shot. He made a nice stretch pass on another grade A shot. He rushed the puck up the ice himself, stopped behind the net, threw it in front, and Draisaitl almost scored. So he was out for one rush goal. He and Nurse backed in too much, and they allowed a cross team pass. I think that was the third goal against. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a weird play because there was 4 Oilers back and just 3 Rangers, but the Oilers kept backing in. I think one thing that's going on is clearly they're struggling to figure out their defensive systems and concepts. And on the rush, it almost seems like they're playing a zone on the rush. Like they're backing up, like they're starting to get passive and go into that zone mode on the rush, when really on the rush, I don't think that's not when you play the zone. That's when you get on those guys and shut them down. Then you fall back into that. But it just seemed like there was a little passivity on the rush, both rushes actually, backing up too much and not taking on the attackers. But so that was the one mistake Kulak made, but he was otherwise very strong. And the best forward I thought was Warren Fogle, which is a fairly common story this year.
I named him as my good thing 3 different times already this season, which is good weird for Warren Fogle, but it's generally not a good sign.
So he got one 5-alarm shot just by going harder than that and jamming at the puck. Then he won the puck in the corner and set up Connor Brown, who also had his best game this year, for a 5-alarm shot in the third. And then his best play, the game was kind of over then. It was over. It was 7 minutes left in the third. But he just had this absolutely fierce back check where he won the puck. And he threw it towards the net, and it bounced to Hyman, who had kind of a break-in chance and a really good chance to score. I mean, the game was over by then, but Fogle was still hustling. He's been hustling all year. He has been one of the positive stories for the Edmonton Oilers this year. And I'll go with that as my good thing. What is your bad thing, Bruce?
Brett Kulak, he played, I think, 2 shifts with Darnell Nurse, 46 seconds, the least he played with any other Oiler tonight. And during those 46 seconds, the Oilers were outscored 2-0.
Creepers.
So mark that down as a defense pairing that maybe we don't want to see going forward. They're 2 lefties, so it was weird that they were both out there, and it happened twice, and both times the puck went right in the net.
Yeah.
Weird.
Well, Kulak was to blame on the first one. Nurse was partially to blame on both. So, all right.
Yeah. My bad thing?
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Ken Holland. I've been deliberating whether I'm going to get into this yet or not. And this is a bad time to be judging him in the sense that McDavid's out. The team's on a low point. But man, he's painted himself into such a corner that he can't do anything. Like anything. He's got a roster right now with 1 injury, 20 guys. There's no room for benching guys or strategically playing, arresting guys, or bringing in particular players to play against particular teams. You're just stuck with the guys you got. But it's more they're stuck with the guys that they got forever. They're all locked up. And they got all these contracts. Every player on the ice has seemed like that's not under $1 million. Is locked up till 2025, 26, 27, 29. And he's painted himself into such a corner. There's just not much that he can do. And with the team in a spiral, and one of the things I wonder about is they just seem to be a little bit stale. And one of the things that Glenn Sather used to do every summer was he'd go and make a trade or 2 trades, or he'd pick some guy off a waiver wire or interleague draft or some darn thing, and he'd come up with a Craig Muni in the off season, or he'd trade Ken Linsman for Mike Krushelnyski, or find some way to bring on Mark Napier, like half decent players that would come in and just sort of blend. What was Charlie's word? Churn. There's no churn on this team. Like, they got the same guys that they had last year. The only guys they got here that are new or Connor Brown coming off a major injury, he was just struggling to find his own way, and Adam Ernie, a PTO, is not exactly going to, shift the tides, right? It's and there's chemistry, but there's no spark right now. And
Bruce,
again, I mean, that's McDavid's absence is part of it, but what can Holland do? Like, what's he going
well,
to do tomorrow morning?
he,
Nothing.
I disagree with you, Bruce. He can do
Okay.
stuff.
Okay.
He's got a bunch of
Explain.
players he could trade. He could trade Ryan McLeod. He could
Uh-huh.
trade Dylan Holloway. He could
Good.
trade Brett Kulak or Cody Ceci. He can trade Warren Fogle. He can trade Philip Broberg. He can trade Vincent Desharnais. In fact, he had a trade apparently for Vincent Desharnais. He could have got a center. Uh, you know, Sam Lafferty apparently was the that's the rumor. So I think, and this is what I said last podcast. I think he should make a trade. I think he should look at those guys and move out one of them for a player that they need. And I don't. It's not a trade for making the in the name of making a trade. I think you need another forward. I think you need a forward who can make a difference, like Fogel's doing. A third line forward with some skating ability, probably a center who can hustle. So maybe you trade Ryan McLeod, Bruce, and you bring in that center. Maybe you trade and
Well,
Kulak.
Ryan McLeod's supposed to be that center.
Well,
Where is
he
that
is.
guy?
So, well, yeah. So you have to make a call. Maybe it's Broberg. Maybe you think this isn't going to work and you trade him. Maybe it's Desharnais. You think, it's great to have this big guy, but really we've got 6 defensemen and we have Niemelainen on the farm. Maybe they should have made the Lafferty trade. So I just think Ken Holland does have a number of moves he could make, and he's hesitant to make them. He's waiting. He's patient, but I think
patient.
I think they should make one. I think they have the wrong balance on this team, and they need another effective forward right now. Because I'm worried. Again, I'm worried with Kane's game that he's just going to be what he is, which is a big hitter and a fierce player and an intimidator, but he's not going to be giving you the points that you need. So, I don't know if they can trade for that for a winger with some scoring. It's possible if you move Kulak or Ceci. Like, these are both good NHL defensemen. You should be able to get a good NHL forward back, someone of equal value. And if you throw in a forward, McLeod or Holloway, you could probably get a really good forward then. It would have to be someone earning what their salary is. Well, what Kulak.
Well, that's the problem now, isn't it? Like, all the big salaries are the ones that are all locked up that I was talking about. That are very difficult to trade, and especially so during the season when all the other teams got their cap structures already in place. Anyway, I felt tonight like I was watching a team that was growing old before my eyes.
That's exactly what I felt, Bruce. That is exactly what I felt. And this is my worry that, like, Hyman, Nuge, Kane, Ekholm, it's all, I just thought, last year was this window, like they were all still at their peak. And now can they crank it up again? Because players get old fast in the NHL. So it's still too early to say that. Way too early to say that.
Yeah, of course. Like I say, that was a feeling I had during this game. And I was thinking, the hands aren't there. And the hands are often the first thing to go before the legs for older players. And, it just didn't seem like when the moment came to a crisis point, they couldn't execute. They couldn't make that last pass or actually make a decent shot from in front of the net.
My bad thing, Bruce, tonight is Ekholm and Nuge, who I just thought, Nuge looks particularly lost in the zone. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Very tough night.
He does not know what he is doing. He is like in the red light zone all the time. And, on the attack, is he digging in? Like, it's just like the playoffs. He didn't dig in. He wasn't an effective player this last year in the playoffs. So Nuge has just got to crank it up and bring a level of intensity to his game that he has displayed in the past. And, give it the old Davey Keon, just go with a high amount of skill and fight someone. hit someone. Do what Kane's doing. At least Kane's like trying to get involved.
Kane may have been Edmonton's best or most effective forward in this game.
Well,
At
he
least
made
he
a
was
couple
get
of bonehead
yeah,
plays,
he
though.
got a dumb penalty, and he's
But he is
Kane.
hitting.
But he's hitting with some ferocity. He took the puck hard to the net a couple of times. He took himself hard to the net and created a
Yeah.
scrum on the edge of the crease, which I think was the only sign of any such thing in this game.
Yeah.
He like from a distance, he stood out as being a guy that was at least trying to be a difference maker.
Yeah.
Too many
I
of
don't
them
know
are
why he's on
just
the penalty kill,
vanilla.
but he's not good on the penalty kill. He allowed a couple shots. But yeah, I agree. Like there was lots of good in his game. I only gave him a 5 because that penalty was redonkulous. I mean, what are you doing? Anyway, like it's gamesmanship that went sour. That will happen now and then. But yeah, Bruce, what you said, I agree. And Ekholm is coming back from injury. He's just off. I
He
mean,
looks
he's just
nothing
not
like the
making
guy that was there
plays.
last year.
No, he's just taken a big step back. But again, he's coming back from injury. I think he's going to round into form again. And same with Nuge and Hyman's looked good actually most of this year, so I don't feel like he's getting old before my eyes. But the team as a whole,
Yeah.
but I agree with the shaking it up. And I said it last week, and I think I said it the week before. It's been on my mind. You have an extra defenseman, move him in a trade, bring in someone who can help your team. And you've got at the farm, you've got Gleason and Niemelainen, who I think are capable enough NHL defensemen if there's injuries, right? Once you get down to the 6, you've got other guys you can call up and will hold their own. The forwards are just the cupboard's bare. There was it seems like a non-existent fourth line at this point, and they need a third or a fourth line player who can make a difference. So, Bruce, what is your number?
Yeah, my number is 20 minutes and 17 seconds. And that is the most ice time of any Edmonton defenseman tonight. And that player is none other than Evan Bouchard, who reportedly, and in a headline I wrote today because I believed what I heard from the rink, had been demoted to the third pairing. And all he wound up doing was leading the team in ice time. Of course, there would be score effects at play there with the Oilers trailing for basically 2/3 of the game. And I haven't looked closely at the period by period distribution of said ice time, but Bouchard actually responded with a pretty good game tonight. I thought he was all right, and he had in that time he had 3 shots, 6 shot attempts to lead the defense, 2 takeaways to lead the defense, 2 block shots, and nothing sort of detrimental like giveaways or penalties or minuses. He was okay, and it wasn't like he was logging 18 minutes on the power play because there was a ton of power plays because there was barely any at all. He was getting even strength time and 17:44 at even strength. So that number surprised me. I was interested to see it when I got home, and sure enough.
Well, two Oilers defenders kept a clean sheet at even strength, which I define as, no major mistakes on a grade A shot against at even strength. And those two defenders were Cody Ceci, who's been really solid all year. We're seeing the Cody Ceci. This is what I talked about all last year. Like the guy's injured. Everyone's down on me. Is he playing hurt? Let's see what he can do if he's healthy again. Yeah. Right now he's healthy and he's at least hanging in there. And Bouchard was the other. Bouchard was sound on defense, and good for Evan Bouchard. He can, and again, he can be. We've seen him go long stretches where he's been pretty, really solid on defense. We've also seen some pretty horrendous stretches, but he was good tonight, Bruce, and his stat sheet, I guess, reflects that, and the coaches thought that because they gave him all that.
Yeah, I'm just looking at his partners, and he played 7 minutes with Ekholm. He played 5 minutes with Kulak, with whom he started the game, and almost 5 minutes with Broberg. So he wound up playing with sort of equally split among 3 different left defensemen. So they really were mixing things up, I think, as things went along.
Well, Broberg had a pretty nervous night. He didn't look confident, which is an issue with him. And if he doesn't get confident, he's not going to make it just now with the Oilers. So he did get a few shifts with Ekholm to start the game, but they quickly went in another direction, which was the right call.
Yeah. No, he didn't really stand out in this game at all. And when I'm looking at young Schneider on New York Rangers, being a very prominent player, young Phil didn't stack up particularly. He didn't shine. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, no, and Condre Miller is a good young defenseman. I mean, Broberg
Yeah.
has all the tools still, but I just really think he's just got to make up his mind to go for it. Like he's not going to make it if he doesn't go for it, so he might as well and just forget everything else and just play hockey.
Yeah.
Bruce, my number is the even strength plays leading to goals. So there's Cam Sharon developed a system of charting even strength plays, and he essentially has four types of plays that lead to goals and shots against.
Right.
They're rush plays, face-off plays, psycho plays, and forecheck plays. And I won't get into the definitions right now, but because I think everyone kind of has a conceptual understanding of those things just by mentioning them. But the Oilers have been pretty much even, Bruce, in all of those areas: face-off, grade A shots, goals, cycles, forechecks, and they've given as good as they've got. But on rush plays, Bruce, they have been eaten alive this year. And it's seen most dramatically in goals against. There was 2 goals on rush plays at even strength tonight. And that means so far this year, the Oilers have scored 4 goals at even strength on the rush, and they've given up 13. They have scored 4 goals. They've given up 13. I want to credit Sid at Oilers Nation for doing this work.
Yeah, that's quite the project they've got going on there.
It's an excellent project. I did it last year against Vegas, and figuring out how the goals were being scored against the Oilers, and I think it's actually crucial work to do in terms of understanding the team at a team level. Yeah. And when I reviewed all the 5 alarm shots and goals against the Oilers at even strength this year off the rush, it was often mental errors. Players being slow to react to someone breaking up the middle of the ice, just not seeing them and being slow to move their feet, or making a bad decision on a pinch. Tonight, we saw Ekholm's bad decision on a pinch, but it didn't end up actually, it wasn't a bad decision. It was a good pinch, but he just went through him, and that happens sometimes. I thought he was going to win that pinch, but he just didn't happen. The 2 other rush goals tonight were atypical goals against, in that there wasn't major brain farts on those plays where someone made a major kind of a bad read or anything. They just kept backing up on the rush, and the other team took advantage of that with a really super outside shot and then a cross seam pass that should never have happened if the Oilers defensemen were up on their players. So whatever it is, Bruce, this team cannot defend the rush right now. They are terrible at it. And again, I think the biggest issue is their reads are off. They're not reading the play well. And on the rush, they're just not attacking. This team with Connor McDavid, the greatest rush player in hockey, is not scoring goals on the rush.
4 goals on the rush.
4 goals on the rush.
I'd make the case that McDavid game was off before he went out.
I agree.
Like, even though the story is he got hurt and then he left, and they showed a play in Winnipeg. I mean, I saw a stat the other day where they were doing cumulative game scores of all the players in the league, and it's complex methodology that I won't get into here. But let's just say when Connor McDavid ranked 77th among NHL forwards and game scores as MVP of the league, either your stat is terrible, which this one isn't, and it's fairly widely accessed after games, or your player, like Leon was 6th in the league at that time, and Hyman, I think, was 18th, and like the other top Oilers forwards were up in the upper echelon, and you'd expect McDavid to be in the top 10 comfortably, but so there was just like I'm trying to think, has there been one game this year where he was sort of a dominant force? And I don't think there has been. So let's hope. I mean, he skated today. Coach Woodcroft said it was a good day for him, but they're going to see how he is tomorrow. There's this rumor that his family has come out for the Heritage Classic. That maybe they're just going to sit with him and in the box seats
and commiserate.
Yeah, and a question came up. Well, if McDavid's coming back from injury, you sure the game on the outdoor ice is the time to be doing it? Which is and Woodcroft said, I haven't even put any thought into it, but now that it is our next game, our next preparation is going to have to do with the actual location of the game, Commonwealth Stadium, as opposed to Rogers Place. That they'll have to be careful to think things through on matters like that. But it's they played 5 games with McDavid and 2 without him, and they got 1 win, and they've been 17 goals for, 30 against. I mean, it's pretty dire.
Bruce, the conundrum.
17-30.
We will go quickly to our conundrum, and it's almost like the same conundrum. The what can you possibly do to get out of this? And I just think narratively, this is perfect. Before you have your greatest achievement, you got to go down. You got to really sink to the rock bottom. And the moment.
It's always darkest before the dawn.
Exactly.
Which is
all
actually
the preseason.
Garbage, but...
Yeah. Sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't. And the
absolute. If you have a waxing gibbous moon that sets just before dawn, it gets a little bit darker then just before the light comes up, then maybe. Otherwise, it's darkest at local midnight.
Oh yeah, I forgot I was talking astronomer. I forgot what I was going to say. I think that I think that they can. I think they can. Get down in the depths. Oh, here's what it was. The moment, of all the preseason hype, the moment that bothered, there was just one moment. I think the players tune out all the pundits, everything ever now. Why would they listen to us, and why would they listen to the pundits and all that crap? Maybe they do if their media training should be pay zero attention to it. Don't listen to the podcast. Don't listen to sports radio. Don't go on the internet. Don't read any of that crap. But the moment that it had me worried was there was some interview between Gretzky and McDavid. And Gretzky said to McDavid, "You're going to win a Stanley Cup. You're too good a player not to win the Stanley Cup." And that moment, I just thought, jinx. I just didn't like that moment because really good players sometimes don't win the Stanley Cup. And you need breaks. It's a 32-team league now. Yeah. This isn't like the 6-team NHL. This is a different.
Not even like the 21-team NHL where 16 teams make the playoffs.
When you could hold on to good players forever, right? When you get them and you could keep them unless you wanted to sell them for money, which is a different story. But it just and I just thought, I don't want to hear that. It doesn't necessarily have to be that. So I think the Oilers they're just paying the price for maybe riding a little too high and being a little too sure coming into this season. And it's a shock. This has got to be a terrible shock. But I think it is a shock. But Bruce, I also think this team is too damn good not to turn it around. And this is the same team that was the best team or the second best team in the second half of the NHL season. That if they had gotten by Vegas, probably would have won the Stanley Cup and gave Vegas a hell of a series. This is a team that's done a coach since he took over the Oilers who's done exceptionally well. These people, these individuals, and this team has it in them to turn it around, and I think they're going to do it. Now, I don't know how far they're going to go or anything like that, but they're going to come out of this, and they're going to figure out how to play solid two-way hockey, and it's going to happen in the next month.
It's going to have to happen relatively soon.
I'm not sure I believe me, but that's what I'm saying.
I mean, they're already at the point, David, where if they play 600 hockey the rest of the way, they finish with 93 points, which is right on the playoff cut line, right? They need 90 points because they've only got 3 To get to 93, they need 90 in the 75 games that are left.
But how
That's
easy?
a 600 pace. Now they should be able to play 600 hockey. We expect them to be well over that all year. But I sure in the hell expect them to be above. What is it they're at right now? 2. Yeah. 214. 214.
Yeah. All right, Bruce. Any final thought?
Well, I got a final number for you now. Jonathan Quick. Old Jonathan Quick. He's now 25 wins against Edmonton in his career with a 667 points percentage, a 213 goals against average, and 922 save percentage, and 4 shutouts. Not bad, old guy, and he still has a few tricks up his sleeve. He even won a race to a puck tonight. He came out to clear one that came into Edmonton's zone. Not only did he win the race, he passed it up the ice, and New York got a 3-on-1 out of it. So, and my other final thought, which was irrelevant to the outcome, was Edmonton won a video challenge at the end on the 4-0 goal, and I think the reason they won it was that the linesman confessed to the referee that the goal would never have happened had he himself not gotten in the way of the Oilers' rush at the offensive blue line. And the puck went the other way and they scored. And there was a kind of a borderline kicking motion. And the linesman's probably going, they didn't deserve that goal. Wave it off. So
there you go.
This is just my it seemed like at least it was just because it was sort of Oilers had a promising rush and all of a sudden there's the linesman's feet in the way. So not much puck luck tonight either. Let's put it that way. But at least I got a call on that one.
Yeah. All right, Bruce. Thanks for talking tonight.
Thanks for listening, everyone. I hope I eat my words on the aging of the team, but I hope I get to eat those words.
I do too. Thanks, Bruce. And in the meantime, and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.